true. This creates danger. And I'll tell you what, in my time on this, I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people. This is shameful. And I have yet to see an elected official, a Republican elected official, say, you're right, that's shameful. He should not say it. So look, I'm worried. We know how these things go. They start with taunts, they turn to violence. So deeply concerned. True. This creates danger.
Don't use that R word, guys.
In my time on this,
don't use that R word.
I've never seen this before.
Can't even say it if you're a Democrat.
By my house and using the R word in front
What's
of people.
the R word?
This is shameful. And I have yet to see.
I'm sorry. I can't. I've been watching this video on repeat for like 3 hours. I just they're using the R word. I just drive by my house. They drove by my house and they're just getting in that car. I just imagine somebody driving. I just say, retard. Oh my God. It's too funny. This is what they got. Oh my God, folks. What world? How is this guy anything? This could have been our vice president. You know, if you're, if you've had 5 minutes where you thought Trump was a failure, all you got to do is remember that guy was almost our vice president. You started getting on the ground, kissing the dirt, thanking Jesus, thank you that we didn't have a vice retard in charge of stuff. Oh my God. We thought we went from drunk VP to the retard. And he's very capital M mad that people are driving by his house yelling at him. Oh man, I want to be in Minnesota right now just so I can be a part of it. I hope if any of you are in Minnesota, please drive by Tim Walz's house, yell out retard, and record it, please. I'd be very, very happy about it. Oh man. All right. Well, folks, we got a show for you tonight. If you were not a member and you missed last night, we had some good stuff, but tonight got some really good stuff. This J6 bomber stuff is crazy. And of course, some of you aren't going to like it, but I don't care. I got to cover it. There's new updates in the Candace Owens drama. We're going to have to cover it for at least a couple minutes. I promise I won't take too long. And I won't rant again. I already got it out of my system. Lots going on. Hegseth, the very interesting stuff with the economy. So it's all here, guys. The whole daily caboodle, all right here. And we like to call this was a big day of winning with a capital W. And yell that word at Tim Walz while you're at it. Use the W word. Winning! You retard! Anyways. We're going to get into it. So much to cover. So hit that like, hit that subscribe if you don't mind. If you're on X, like, repost. I appreciate it. And let me say hey to the chat, and we're going to get going. So what's up, chat? Alan Agajanian, numero uno tonight. What's up, buddy? US1 Tahoe. R. Will, what's going on? Moody. Hey, friend, it's been a little bit. Wago Waco, Nick Majors, Steve Bernard, Cass Sink, Scott Volkovich, Toe Cramp, Kim Wiley, Marco Sanchez. He's back in the USSR. Mike Mishler, what's going on? Bears first place getting killed by Pickens. Sorry, bro. That's a rough one. Rum Dog here. Kevin Peters, how's it going, man? You want to start with a prayer? I always end with a prayer. I pray before the show on my own, but depends, Kevin. Do you need prayer for something? William Kivamaki, Toe Cramp says, I trust Cash, Trump, Bongino, RFK, Gabbard, and almost Bondi. Well, yeah, it's okay. I get it. I don't agree, but I get it. Danny Gigal, what's going on? Kathy, go Lions, baby. I mean, I hope they win. Because basically the Cowboys cannot make the playoffs if they lose. So that's something we should all self-respecting Americans be rooting for, is the Cowboys to lose, except for the few Cowboys fans that are friends of mine. What's up, Accelerate Growth over there on Rumble? How we doing, Rumble crowd? Good to see you all. Ryan Edberg is here. Ryan, what's up, buddy? You lived in Minnesota most of your life? I didn't know that. You got a little Minnesota to you. Timmy is the worst. Timmy the Tard. That's what we call him around here. Timmy Tard. Timmy Tard. Why? Why Timmy Tard? I just got to watch it one more time. I'm sorry, guys. He's so mad. He's so serious and mad. And dude, why would you let this become a big thing? You know how stupid that is? But anyways, all right. Sorry. I got one more time, and we're going to move on. But I just got to hear him say it one more time. The drive-bys. It's just the funniest thing.
True. This creates danger. And I'll tell you what, in my time on this, I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people. This is shameful.
I've never seen this before. Driving by the R word. Tim, you've never your whole entire life seen somebody call somebody a different name? A bad name? You've never ever seen somebody call somebody a retard? Dude, you grew up in like the 70s. That's all they said back then. I was saying it in the 90s. Are you serious? Never seen this before? I'm sorry, we gotta hear it one more time. It's just too funny. I've never seen this before. He just builds it up so well.
True. This creates danger.
I'm sorry, I love it.
And I'll tell you what, in my time on this, I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people.
I'm sorry. I think it's the funniest thing. I can't get enough of it. I've never seen this before. Drive by my house and use the R word. Meanwhile, Somalians are stealing billions of dollars that they're practically just giving them in fraud. And, people are getting raped and murdered in these crime cities. And, inflation's out of control, but no, we've never seen this before. Run by my house saying the R word. I mean, come on. This is so funny. Lochtefeld, what's up, man? Timmy Tard's going to bankrupt you all. Phil Zill, you're in Minnesota too? I'm sorry, man. That's got to be tough up there. The dude is such an idiot. Okay. All right. I promise we're going to get into real school now. What's up, Linda? Poor Timpon. That's right. He's the tampon king as well. Man, what a guy. Okay, let's get to a serious story. I had my fun with that. Okay, so today, now this is wild. Remember the J6 bomber? They found 2 pipe bombs on J6. It actually was the real crime on January 6th instead of the riots, quote unquote riots, the protests. The real crime on Jan 6 was them trying to blow up certain aspects of Washington, D.C. And they said they couldn't find who it was. They tried to basically blame it on Trump MAGA peeps. And for years, we just kind of moved on. No evidence. And now this is pretty crazy. So Sean Davis writes this: based on the volume and type of evidence about the pipe bomber contained in this affidavit, it's inconceivable that the FBI didn't know the pipe bomber was back in 2021. It looks a heck of a lot like corrupt FBI agents knew for years who the bomber was, but went out of their way to confuse the investigation so they could refuse to make a definitive identification. That goes a very long way toward explaining the latest anonymous FBI agent op against Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. Bongino and Patel removed the corrupt agents, reviewed the evidence, and swiftly identified and arrested the subject once all the corrupt obstructors were out of the way. How insane is this story? They had everything the entire time, and they just wanted to hide it. They wanted to bury it. Probably because it made the protesters on January 6th not look as bad. That's probably number one reason. I'm going to tell you number 2 reason here in a second when I show you who it is. But I mean, this is crazy. A new affidavit gives more info on how the FBI identified J6 pipe bomb suspect. During 2019 and 2020, Cole purchased, his name is Brian Cole, multiple items consistent with components used to manufacture pipe bombs placed at the RNC. They used his cell phone records, as we see here. I mean, but the thing is they had it all. None of this was new evidence. They just looked over it. How crazy is this? This just shows how incredibly corrupt our FBI was before Cash got there, and how much like him and Bongino and Pam Bondi, what they're having to do, they're having to fight their own people to bring justice. And this, I mean, again, I've said it a million times, but I cannot stop saying it. Everybody waiting on the arrest and getting frustrated with Trump that stuff's not happening. This is why. They're fighting our own government. Our government, we elected, is fighting the rest of the government that's unelected, especially in the executive branch. It's a war. They're going after each other. They can't do anything without everything Trump tries to do is 10 to 20 times harder than for any other president, because every other president was just growing that deep state, baby. And as long as you kept growing, as long as you keep feeding the beast, they didn't push back. Even if they didn't 100% agree, they're like, we're still getting ours. You get one president in there trying to change things, trying to actually get people to do their jobs. And it's like pulling teeth. Every little freaking thing is so difficult. And once you realize that, it makes it so much easier to understand why things seem slow sometimes. And B, it makes what Trump's already accomplished in less than his first year the most incredible thing you've ever seen politically in our country. It really is. Like, no country in history that didn't have a king who could move swiftly has ever done more in 1 year. Not a single democracy, not a republic. Only dictatorships and kings could ever move this fast. And Trump's doing it with the entire bureaucracy fighting against him. It's just, it's miraculous we're even this far. You know, when it puts you in all, when you put it all into context like that. What's that? Bear says, did I hear Tim Walz platoon members report him to the FBI? He took the manual specialty tank to China on one of his trips. What? I mean, he's just one of the worst people. He's such a trash human being. Okay. Here's John Solomon. Let me play Solomon here for a second because it's important to hear him. He does some of the best reporting you'll ever find on this stuff. I'm not going to play the full 5 minutes. I might even skip around a bit, but I do want you guys to hear some of him breaking down what was going on with the FBI here and just how bad it was. So listen to Solomon, how they pulled this off.
Mentioned, I think it was just before Thanksgiving on your show, I thought there would be an arrest this week. They were zeroing in on a gentleman whom they arrested this morning in Northern Virginia. And the way this case was cracked was about a month or 6 weeks ago. Bongino, who was the lead on it, and Patel decided to take the old agents off the case and put a new team on it. Now, there was a little resistance, as there always is in the FBI, to any form of change. But the new team came in. They applied some new ideas, some new technologies, and some of the evidence that was sitting right in front of them with fresh eyes was followed, and it was able to be led to this gentleman who they arrested a little bit ago. We don't know much about his ideology or his intentions or his motives yet. And one of the things that FBI officials stressed with me this morning is that this is really the beginning. The arrest is the beginning of trying to understand how this operation was conducted, who's behind it, whether there are more conspirators or whether this is a lone wolf. Still all of that to be determined, but a really extraordinary effort. Almost 5 years later, with a fresh set of eyes and a different approach, the FBI that couldn't solve the case for 4.5 years solves it. Very much like the way the Charlie Kirk investigation occurred in the first few hours. There were a lot of FBI agents in old guard that didn't want to put the suspect's photo out, but Kash Patel and Bongino insisted that was going to be key to getting the father to flip, and they put the photo out, the father flips, and of course you get that arrest as we see. What you're seeing is a different mentality in the FBI, and that plays out in two different ways. First, you see successes that we haven't seen in a while, lots of arrests, cases solved that had not been solved for a long time, other cases which could have gone on for months being solved in 33 hours, like Charlie Kirk's assassin. The second part is it results in a lot of whining from FBI people who think they know what's better. And you see that even in the Miranda Devine story earlier this week. You've got these grousers and grouchers because the truth of the matter is Donald Trump ordered Patel and Bongino to break glass at the FBI. They broke glass. And now the FBI is doing things differently. They're succeeding, but there are people who want to focus on the whining and crying, not actually the success of what the FBI has been doing. The way they solved this case was fresh thinking.
Did you guys hear that? First of all, just this story is so crazy. Again, 5 years they had it all of it, couldn't solve it, purposely putting it under, just avoiding fulfilling, putting everything together and delivering results on purpose. And then he ties it. I thought this was extremely interesting. Okay. And it's been a big deal because of all the Candace Owens stuff. Ties it directly to the Charlie Kirk case. Now, I don't know about you guys, but hearing Solomon here, who is one of the best reporters in DC, this guy is almost never wrong. He gets bombshell stories over and over and over again ahead of time. The Tulsi Gabbard stuff, the indictments. He was on it before anybody else. Listen, Solomon is the best, if not the best, close to the best. Okay. And so him reporting on the FBI with Charlie Kirk, do you hear that? The reason it started off so weird in the beginning and botched was because the old guard FBI didn't really want to solve it. Now, I don't know about you, but after hearing this makes me feel so much better about Kash Patel and Bongino and what they're doing at the FBI. And it also makes me feel so much better about the Charlie Kirk case. I'm sorry. I gotta go there. And this again is just, to me, more strong evidence, because this is actually happening. Okay. This isn't conjecture. This is actual reporting on something that happened. This isn't what happened here, or we're guessing on this. This isn't Candace Owens, basically. This is factual reporting. And what he said right there is that they figured out Kash Patel and Bongino is their idea in how to catch the killer. And so we're still going to get the Tommy Robinson stuff in the case. It's going to be the trial's going to happen, and we're going to learn a whole lot more. And then we're going to learn how many of the questions are still legitimate that we have about this Charlie Kirk thing, and how much is it just bored people wasting time trying to get views on YouTube, Candace Owens, and just making that money off this grift. How much of it is about that when we actually see how the FBI lays it out? But that is what just happened with the J6 bomber ties in perfectly to that, because it shows that Kash and Bongino leading the FBI are actually doing a good job. And if you had any doubts about Kash after this today, after what Solomon just reported, I really question. I really question what you're thinking, or do you just always want to be negative no matter what? That's my question out to the world, to all the naysayers right now, because this to me looks like a branch of the executive government actually doing its job for once, actually having leaders who are pushing it in the right direction. And yeah, they're fighting their own, and that's the hardest part. But it doesn't mean Kash is bad. It doesn't mean Bongino's screwing up. It means they're doing a great job. Because, again, we just got something we never would have seen if Kamala had gotten in. She would have had Chris Wray stay in the FBI. Remember, it's a 10-year term. He stepped down early. He would have still stayed at the FBI, and the FBI still would have been completely corrupt and being used as the Gestapo, the secret police of our government, instead of actually doing their job. Pretty incredible stuff. So here's the guy who's caught, Brian Cole. And I got to tell you, I just think Jake Tapper should describe him real quick.
Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the...
Wait, what?
A 30-year-old white man from the...
Say that again.
Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from...
Are we seeing the same thing here? It's like, does Jake know the picture? We got pictures everywhere. I mean, come on. So I told you guys earlier, one reason this wasn't brought up before was because it would make the Jan 6 protesters look a little better since the bomber had nothing to do with them. And this is the second reason, because he doesn't fit the narrative. That, my friends, is not a white man. he's a dark man. He's a black man. I'm sorry.
Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the...
This is why they wonder why we don't trust them at all. This is insanity. So listen, they caught him. He's busted. We're going to find out a whole lot more. Dan Bongino. Well, let's get to Dan. Actually, I don't want to steal Dan's thunder. So let's let Dan talk about it for a minute, because you know, on stuff like this, you really want to hear it from the source.
Sean, I don't know what the hell this prior leadership team was doing outside of targeting political opponents, weaponizing the FBI, destroying its reputation, embarrassing agents that are doing really good work out there, catching terrorists, CCP spies, and everyone else. It's almost like they were intentionally trying to decimate faith in institutions. It's horrifying. I don't know what they were doing. I can tell you what happened, though, when we got there. The director and I. My first meeting, I swore in, and I kid you not, probably 15 minutes later, and the people who are in the meeting know, I said, when I get in there, I want a full brief on this pipe bomber case on day one. And I looked at the case agent after getting a full brief on what they'd done, and they had done some a pretty extensive amount of work. They had chased down, I think, thousands of leads, 6,000 plus interviews had been conducted, hundreds of tips. And it still was relatively stale, the case. And I grabbed the case agent on the way out, and I said, "You're going to get me this guy. You're going to track this guy down, and you're going to find him. You're going to get me this guy. I want him." And that started what's been almost a 9-month operation right now to make sure that we could get full accountability and transparency to the American public and find this guy. And today we did. But Sean, I have to add this because this is really important. You've heard all the cliches, team effort. You hear it all the time in sports. I said it today at the presser, but I want to emphasize this. This was a team. Judge Janine, Deputy Attorney General Blanche, people you and I know very well, AG Bondi. You cannot do anything in the FBI without DOJ process, subpoenas, drawn paper, search warrants, complaints, arrest warrants. Who do you think does that? It's not just us. We're the investigators. They're the lawyers. So that team, from day one, I told Pam and Todd, I said, hey, Cash and Cash could not have been more supportive. He's like, Dan, go for it. They said, whatever you need. And their attorneys over there were amazing on this case. So don't just throw the team effort thing out like it's just a standard cliche. I mean it. They really did a great job.
Does this sound like what's been reported, that these people don't get along? I mean, does that sound like it to you when you hear Bongino talking about the team? Come on. I mean, remember this summer, Bongino, he's out in 2 weeks. Bongino left on a Friday. He's done. He can't handle it. It's too hard on him. Or just a week ago, Kash Patel, he's corrupt and he's flying his girlfriend all around, and he's on the way out. I mean, are you kidding me? Why do you think all that's happening? PSYOP after PSYOP after PSYOP. It's happening because they're winning. We just got a huge win. More exposures coming. Bongino goes on later in the interview to say this is page 1 of 20 pages of stuff. Chapter 1 of a 20-page book. There's way more coming on this. So this is going to unravel. Lots more are going to come about on this. We're going to find out who's behind it. I won't be surprised if there's some Democrats behind it. I don't know about you guys, but it seems to be a trend. I'm just saying, so, I mean, huge win, and we should all be applauding this. And if you still don't get it, listen, the news is fake. And a lot of it is even fake from influencers. I try to, I'm actually very pleased. Like, there's a couple hundred people that watch me every night. I'm not big. I'm a very small channel for what I do. And that's okay. It's okay because, at least some people want to know the truth. And again and again and again, these narratives that are parroted out there just get unwound. They, you know, and like I said, it's even influencers on the right saying this. Is cash going to be gone? You know, cash is a failure. I've heard it all. Bondi is a failure. She's hiding the Epstein files. Come on. Can we stop playing games and just realize we have a good team up there? It's how it, I mean, we just keep getting wins. I know it's not what everybody wants, but this is a big win, guys. It might not feel as big as you thought because it's so old, but this is actually a big win. It's a really big win. We got to unwind a lot of the stuff from the past in order to move forward. This is huge to people who think of all the people in America. I was watching trends today, and this was one of the #1 trends on Google. They were looking up the guy's name, looking up the FBI breakdown on it. That's what people were looking up. This is huge. This is spreading like wildfire, this story. This is what the normies are watching, and it's blowing their minds because they all thought it was some Trumper. They all thought it was on January 6th, some MAGA dude going around trying to blow up Congress. And now they're finding out that ain't what it is at all. This is huge. This is the kind of stuff that matters. This is the kind of stuff that wakes up the general public. I know everybody who's woken up is like, well, yeah, that makes sense. You know, come on. Like, can we get Obama? I get it, but you don't understand. We are the minority. There's not that many people fully awoke yet, fully awakened. It takes time. You got to get these kind of wins to move forward. This is a big win. This will open up the door to other things. So let's celebrate. Let's celebrate this team. Can we finally, I mean, I know some of you won't ever come on my side on this unless I don't even know what it'll take. What would it take? You know, I mean, maybe some of you won't, like, until you guys see Barack Obama publicly execute or something, you won't give Bondi any credit. But can we give Bondi some credit for this one? This is a big win. This is a big win. The DOJ backing up the FBI, working together. This is huge. So, I mean, come on. Like, we're seeing stuff. Let's start celebrating that. And anyways, I'm going to play a little more Bongino because I want you guys to hear just even more of what they're dealing with. On this clip, Bongino really breaks down just how bad things were at the FBI when he got there. Listen to this. And it also kind of hints at what's more to come.
No, I mean, I never really told this story before, but I was sitting in the office on a Friday night. It was very late. You know, one of us is always a late and early guy, me or Director Patel. So it was, I don't know, it was 7 o'clock or so. And there was no one around. It was a Friday, and I was just reading some of the Crossfire stuff that, you know, we had seen. And I got to tell you, I was just horrified. I don't know, it's just stuck in my crutch stuff. And I've written books on this. I'm pretty well versed in what happened in multiple books on this. But when you see it from the other side, it was just different. I mean, what these people in prior administrations did to this country, Sean, to, you know, decimate and destroy faith in these institutions. And I just hesitate to think of where we would be right now with a different president in charge. I really do. I don't.
We know
we
where
may not have a republic.
We know the answer.
Yeah.
I don't disagree.
I mean, that's why, and that's why that next day I woke up and I just, you know, I probably should have, but it was just I couldn't get it out of my head and what they did to just destroy this beautiful place we call home. And Cash and I were absolutely committed to this reforming this place and getting faith in these institutions back. I can tell you right now, you played that clip of him before. Director Patel has changed out the entire leadership team. Some of the people we have in charge right now, I swear to you, these are absolute manhunters. They've locked up 30,000 violent criminals. The murder rate has cratered so low, and we're not done. I told the guys that there's some headline in New York Post today. It's going to be crimes at an all-time low in New York. I said, it's not good enough. I said, back again. We're going again. We're doing another roundup. And then when we're done with that, we're doing another one. I said, you know what the acceptable crime rate is? 0. That's the acceptable crime rate. And this president could not be more supportive. I'm telling you, go get him, boys. He says it all the time. And he means it. Wow. He drives around these. What do you think he's doing this for? You think he's doing it to get reelected? You think he's doing it for politics? These are blue cities. He hates crime. He can't. It drives him crazy. and he wants it solved. And if Cash and I are committed to doing it.
Boom. That's good stuff right there. And talking about what he saw and some stuff, there's going to be more coming out, guys. There's going to be a lot more coming out. So I cannot wait to see what happens. But listen, you know, I know, and I was in this crowd. I was a part of this crowd that before the election, going through what was happening with the FBI, I was like, it has to be fully purged and disbanded. But, you know, seeing what we're seeing now, you know, this is the thing. We all think we have answers, right? And we do it. We're all Monday morning quarterbacks. We all sit back and we're like, oh, they should do this and they should do that. And we got it all figured out because we get to sit here and watch it all happen. We got a lot of time to think because we can't really do anything. So we figure it out. We figure out how they should do it and what they should do. And we just think we know everything. And then there's the actual people involved in it. And they get in there and they're like, oh, we have a whole lot of information we didn't have before. We can see a pathway here that we didn't see before. And this is why it's so important to just, when you pick a leader and you actually pick a leader, and I feel like President Trump is the first leader in my lifetime I picked. Okay. I voted for other guys, but I didn't pick them. I voted for Bush twice. Sorry about that, guys. I'm ashamed of it, but I didn't pick him. You know, he was just the lesser of two evils. I voted for McCain, which God forbid, that was a horrible vote, but it was him or Obama. Those were my choices. I didn't choose him. Romney, I voted for Romney. I didn't want to, but it was him or Obama. I didn't have a choice. It was like, you know, lesser of two evils. And also I didn't know what I know now back then. But looking back, it's like gross. It was so gross. Trump's the first guy in my life I rode the whole way. I was like, this is my guy. And we won. And I know many of you, it's the first time you've ever felt that. I'm not alone in this. Trump is the first guy who's our guy. We got our guy in there. And so many people feel that way across this country, millions and millions of people. But the problem is because we never had our guy in before and we were constantly disappointed. Now we finally have a guy in there and we're expecting disappointment. So we don't trust and we don't give them any time. And I'm telling you, like when you pick a leader and they're dealing with the biggest stuff, like we've been riding him since 2015, 10 years now, riding Trump's coattails, rooting for him, believing in him, and the job's not done. And so I just don't get it. I don't get everybody being so upset. It's like, let's see him finish the job. He's going to do it differently than we thought. He's got way more information than we do. And that's the same thing with the FBI. I trust Trump putting Cash in there. I trust him putting Bongino in there. And we're seeing results. And days like today should give you the encouragement to know, like, we are moving forward. Let's see. Tokran, wait until they come out with the true info on Kirk, and then Candace pivots to the next drama and acts like, oh yeah, that is definitely going to happen. And speaking of that, we're going to be getting to Candace right here in a minute. Mike Mishler says, we find out how corrupt the Biden administration is because Trump caught them ASAP where Biden covered it up. 100%. Think about that. 4 years of the Biden administration, it happened like 2 weeks before they came in. So basically on their watch, they were in charge of the investigation the entire time. Nothing, crickets. The Trump administration comes in and in 9 months, they catch this guy. He's been on the lam for 5 years. I mean, it's incredible work. It's incredible work. And it definitely shows you the difference. So, all right, let's jump in to Candace because I know we got to, and I know you guys love it. It's so fun. Not really. I am so excited for the day when this Candace stuff's over. I'm telling you right now, I don't enjoy covering this, but you have to for all the reasons I've talked about before, but I'm going to talk about it again tonight in just a second here. But actually Tim's going to cover it for me. A leftist is suspecting of killing Charlie Kirk. His death is the biggest crisis the right populist coalition has faced Instead of rallying against the left and their violence, Candace has shifted the blame to the right and TPUSA itself. There you go, right there. That's my biggest problem in all of this. Again, I've said it 20 times and people just keep not hearing me. But even if Candace is right, it's not about that she's right. It's that she's doing it the wrong way. Because let's say, worst case scenario, TPUSA is horrible and they were behind it and everything. I get it. Okay, that's horrible. It should all be exposed. But you're not doing it the right way. Because you don't have the receipts yet. You got speculations. You have, what's the word I'm looking for? Some coincidences, some questions. Fine. All that's true. But you don't have any hard evidence. And until you have hard evidence, in the meanwhile, while you're waiting for your hard evidence, you're still destroying the most important group for MAGA. You're just going ahead and destroying them before you got hard evidence. That's disgusting. And that tells you, in my opinion, what she's really up to. She's either blindly selfish and just getting that money, or she's working for somebody and she's trying to take down TPUSA for a reason. You know, Candace used to be a leftist. Go grok Candace and Gamergate and watch what comes up. You'll learn a lot about Candace Owens you didn't know before. But that this is absolutely true, and this is the biggest problem. You know, if she's wrong, by the way, Tommy Robinson, leftist, sleeping with furries, trans, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, hardcore weirdo in every way, only 24%, this poll came out today, only 24% of people know he was a leftist. That's terrible messaging, and that's because of people like Candace Owens. In fact, she's the biggest reason for that. So right now, she's killing MAGA. Because think about this. Think about all those millions of younger voters who are abandoning MAGA right now because things are so hard financially. They can't buy a home. They're getting tired of waiting for Trump, for the economy to turn around. They think Trump's too close to Israel because, again, Candace Owens and people like her lying about Trump and Israel, creating connections that aren't there, creating distortions and exaggerations that don't logically make sense, but get a big old bullhorn because these people have huge platforms. Yeah. Oh, and they're promoted. Ian Carroll comes out of nowhere, can't even find out where he lived, where he came from. I researched him for days, couldn't find anything on his background. Oh, that's not suspect. And all of a sudden he's got millions of followers within a couple years' time. And the dude's never produced anything except for some interesting conspiracy videos. Come on now. Got on Rogan? Explain that to me, please. Doesn't even have a past. You can't find out anything about him. Candace Owens, darling of the right for about 4 years, from 2018 to 2022. Before that was a leftist. Ran a leftist marketing company, tore down right-wing figures left and right. Gamergate, again, look it up. All this stuff, all true. And now she's the biggest podcast in the world, and all she's doing, everything she's doing, is hurting MAGA. It's hurting Trump. Coincidence? I don't think so. She's worth, her show, I saw it today. I believe, I might have this number a little bit wrong, but I believe I saw her show now is worth $27 million. She's making over $10 million a year doing this. Her husband's worth $250 million. Come on. Are you kidding me? This woman is raking in the dough, and this whole time she's just taking away the focus from where we should be. Took the big shift. Remember the first couple weeks after Charlie died, all of us were doing our research. It was clearly obvious. The left has a violence problem. People are turning against it. These people just killed Charlie Kirk in cold blood on the internet where everybody could see the video. The guy almost everybody loved. Even the left couldn't really hate him except for like the hardcore crazy leftists. But the moderates, you know, he was winning people over left and right. Shocked. People are getting billions of people watch his memorial service. Revivals happening. People are getting baptized all over the country, and then all of a sudden, all this awakening, all this, man, the left is violent. It's all gone now. And all we're talking about is TPUSA. Maybe they killed their own guy. Doesn't that seem weird to you? Anybody else? All that momentum gone? We just lost the biggest martyr, political martyr in our country since Martin Luther King Jr. And it just gone like that? That's some seriously wrong there, guys. Something seriously wrong there. Linda, I know Ian's been on TikTok for years. Try to research his background and tell me what you find. You can't find anything about him except for like the town in Washington where he grew up. But there's literally nothing. No social media accounts before his TikTok conspiracy videos, which are only a couple years old. This dude's in his 30s, okay, or late 20s at the oldest or the youngest. Regardless, he's a zillennial, and no background on social media. Come on, that's weird. He started with the easy conspiracy theories that everybody knew were true because all it took was 5 minutes of research to find them. He started with those, got traction, and then he became huge when it became Trump's in the Epstein files and everybody's owned by Israel. That's what he became. Now he's grifting on that. And that's all he does now. And he's a total fraud. He's a total fraud. And everything about him says he was raised up by the CIA. So that's what he's doing. I'm just saying, I've researched the man. You can't find anything on him. This is what happened today. Candace and TPUSA went back and forth, said, TPUSA started saying, we have to address this. Candace Owens said, I will debate you, name the time and place. TPUSA said, fine. The place is next Friday, 2 p.m. here in Arizona. We'll be doing a show. You're welcome to join. And she said, whoa, that's too soon. I can't do that. What are you talking about? You didn't even send me an email. You just post this online. And she backed out about it. And now they've been fighting about this all day. Listen, there are a lot of people who say, oh, she can't go. Her life's in danger. That's what they want to believe. But listen, okay, think thought experiment for a second here. Okay. Candace Owens, biggest podcast in the world right now, or at least by her claim. The numbers, a little iffy on that, but it's close either way. I'm not saying she's lying. I'm saying it's close. It's not as clear cut as she says. But anyways, regardless, huge, massive star right now. Everybody's watching her. Everybody's watching what's going on with TPUSA right now. This is the biggest thing on X today. Other than the J6 bomber, this is number 2. All this is huge, right? Think about it this way. They gave her a date and a time. If Candace says yes and she flies out there and she dies, right there, everybody knows TPUSA is guilty. It proves everything. So is there anybody in their right? I mean, she was at Dollywood last week on her Thanksgiving vacation when she said, my life's in danger. She went to Dollywood. How safe is that? You don't think an assassin could take her out at Dollywood? Come on. We saw the pictures. She was selfies. Hey, I'm at Dollywood. Okay, your life's in danger. I mean, come on. This isn't hard. If you're a hitman, you easily find that. Here's the deal. If she flew out there and died, everybody knows it's TPUSA. So guess what's not going to happen? TPUSA is not going to kill her if she flies out there. That is so illogical. It makes no sense at all. Not even Tim Walz is that retarded. Not even the great Tim Walz is that retarded. I'm just saying. That is so stupid. So there is no excuse for this. She said, she laid it out there. It's time and place. They gave her a time and place. She said no. So now they're going to do their stream. She's going to live stream it back. How does anybody have a problem with this? I tell you what, this is so obvious that for the first time in my life, and I'm going to get a little nauseous saying this, I agree with Nick Fuentes. Blood. Oh, God. I feel a little sick. Even Nick Fuentes calls her out. You were invited to TPUSA to press their leadership live in person about the role in Charlie Kirk's murder, but you can't go because of a scheduling conflict. Isn't this what you've been pushing for since September? Time to put up or shut up. 100%. I mean, how weak is this response? Kind of weird how you didn't email or call me about times. Why am I learning about this on X? Listen, if you have the receipts and you're trying to take down an organization, you legitimately believe that they are behind the murder of Charlie Kirk. If this is me, if I'm Candace Owens right now, I'm Candace. Hi, guys. I'm Candace. I have lots of conspiracies for you guys. I got all the receipts. I'm not going to show them to you, but I have them. TPUSA has just invited me to go open up and blast them and prove to the entire world on what will be the biggest internet event of the year. Candace Owens on TPUSA, live, debating this with receipts. Oh, you better believe this will be the biggest online show of the year. The entire world will tune in. And X, the conversation on X will be dominated for 2 or 3 days about this. Oh yeah, I'm showing up. I don't care. You gave me 10 days, 8 days. I got a babysitter. I'm worth millions. Of course I got a babysitter. And if not, you're staying home, hubby. The kids are with you. I am dropping everything. I am flying out there and I am proving that I am right and they are wrong. And it will be the biggest win in Candace Owens' career and one of the biggest owns in internet history. Candace goes down as a legend. TPUSA collapses. It is huge. It is earth-shattering. Everything she wants to do is accomplished if she had the receipts. You go right now. No, you don't say, oh, that doesn't work. I can't show up. Can anybody figure this out? It's not 24 hours, one love. It's December 15th, dude. That's next week. Come on. Don't be a Candace defender here. There's no way to defend her here. That's crazy, okay? They invited her in person on the 15th. So, listen. None of this makes sense. And even if it is 24 hours, this is a rich, rich woman. And she has put it out there. This is her chance to own them if she's got it. Regardless, it doesn't matter how much time there is. You make it work. Oh, 24 hours to make up her mind. Well, I mean, that's plenty of time. I'm telling you right now, if I'm Candace Owens, it takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I go tell my wife, dude, TPUSA, the ones I've been saying, they're behind Charlie's death. I'm about to expose them in front of the entire world. Are you kidding me? Honey, I'm going next week. And you know what my wife says? You have to go. You absolutely have to go. This will change everything. This is the opportunity you've been waiting for. You go. You don't say, oh, I have a scheduling conflict. I have to do my podcast. I'm sorry. That's when I schedule my podcast. I can't give up my regular day show in order to have the biggest, I can't give up my daytime Oprah show for the Super Bowl. I just can't do it. I just can't. I'm sorry. How dare you? How dare you? I know I told you to pick a date and time, but good Lord, next week. I'm sorry. I have a podcast to do. Whatever. You're going. This is insanity. How does anybody? I'm sorry. I know some of you guys, I love you. I promise I'm not going to yell at you tonight. I promise I'm not going to yell at you. Take a breath. How does anybody still believe this woman? How? At this point, she could be right about everything, but her actions and her backtracks and her mistakes have made it impossible to still believe she's got it. Impossible. So unless there's hard receipts, there's just nothing here. And I just don't understand how anybody logically could still think she's got anything. How they could still think she's doing this for the best of intentions. I just don't see it. Rich Barris posts, Laura and I discussed this over lunch today, waiting on the kids. Candace is killing independent sources by turning podcasting into episodes of Lost. I'm an independent source. Yeah, you better believe it. You know how hard? Like, I already was competing with big people doing news, hard news, breakdowns, telling it like it is, prognosticating. And now I got to compete with Candace. Just everything is a conspiracy. It's true. It's like, you can't fight that. It's probably why I'll never be a big show, because I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to lie. I'm not willing to make stuff up. I'm not willing to play games. I'm just going to tell it straight. And if that's how it's got to be, the days of Rush are over. I'll tell you that. But he says it's not real. It's not even plausible, but you hate your life enough that she'll hook you all the same. Yeah, she's really good at what she does. She's very smart. She's very charming, and she's nice to look at. That's a winning combination. Tokram says Italian restaurants have a new dish called the Candace. It's all noodles with no sauce. I love it. That's good stuff. Quartering posts this. See, the Democrats on Polymarket now surging up to 80%. They take the House. This is a betting market, so, take it with a huge grain of salt. This could change very quickly. I think Kamala Harris at one point was 65% to win the presidency. So again, take it with a huge grain of salt. But regardless, it tells you where the trend is in people's mind. And the quartering is saying it's going to be 2018, 2020 all over again. Endless impeachment, nothing getting done. But hey, at least Candace has the #1 podcast in the world. That's all she cares about, apparently. I can't fathom not showing up. I'm sorry, I can't get over that. I don't know. You guys, you guys let me know in the chat if anybody has a good excuse for why she shouldn't show up in 8 days and why it's a hard decision. Please enlighten me. And don't say her life's in danger. I already threw that out the window. That doesn't make any sense. So give me, if you got anything, why a multi-million-dollar woman can't make a trip in 8 days to blow open the biggest win she'd ever have in her life. I don't know. Can anybody give me a reason for that? I'd love to know. Okay, enough Candace. I'm so sick of Candace. This is driving me nuts having to report on her all the time, but it has to be done because she's killing us. She is killing us. Okay? This is and it just sucks. Because most of her viewership is MAGA. She claims across all platforms she gets 3 million people a day or something like that. It's huge. I don't know if it's true. I haven't done the math, but let's say that's 1 million. Let's put in a third. 1 million people a day, and then she takes all the attention on X. She soaks up all the attention everywhere else. She's just, she's huge right now. Okay? She's getting more attention than Trump right now. That tells you how big she is right now, okay? By doing all this. So she's taking all that. Most of her viewership's MAGA. Every single person that trusts Candace right now, you can't have it both ways. You either trust Candace and doubt Trump and doubt what's going on in MAGA in the administration, or you trust the administration and doubt Candace. You can doubt Candace without trusting the administration, but I'm saying if you're in MAGA, it's one or the other. And even if, we're a coalition, we are the majority of the country, we won the popular vote. But if she siphons off even 3% of that, Trump won 50% of the vote. Because of Candace, that goes down to 47%. That's a sweep in the midterms. That's how fragile a majority is in our nation. That's how fragile elections are. And she could just pull off 3% just by doing that. So, sorry. Mike, I'm not making her relevant. Dude, Mike, come on. Listen, this is worse than your Seinfeld take. She's already relevant. It's people like me who need to call her out to break it down. Because somebody's going to watch me and get ideas and see stuff they don't see otherwise. They're just watching her. I have to talk about this. You can't, how can you say that to me? I'm making her relevant. I have 150 people watching me right now, and she's got 1 million. I making her relevant is not the problem. I have to talk about this because it has to be exposed. And the people who actually want to know the truth, it's got to be shown. I'm sorry. You're wrong, Mike. I know you're bored. I'm bored of it too. I don't want to talk about her, but she's ruining this movement. If I ignore her and just let her get away with it, that's on me. I can't ignore this. This is poison in our system. We have to purge it. And I have to keep going after it. You cannot not talk about this if you're in the space like I am. You can't ignore it. I'm talking about all the other stuff too, but this is the most important thing going on right now in our movement because all the other stuff is overshadowed by it. And until this Candace stuff goes away, the attention's not going to go back. And that's why it has to be done. That's why it has to be done. Vince says, I think it's bullshit. Show up and duke it out. I thought she had good points, but now BS. See? Thank you, Vince. That's exactly why I do it. Mike, Vince just proved my point. It's just like when Rush had a Rush baby. That's what just happened. If one person, just woke up, and it's because people like me are paying attention to it. So that makes it all worth it. So thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Rom. I appreciate you. It's the summer of chores. That's right. Thanks, Media Junkie. Appreciate you too. Thank you. Thank you, Mark R. Anyways, please like, subscribe. I promise I won't talk about Candace as soon as this goes away. I promise. Once she's fully exposed in a way that everybody knows it's over, or she moves on, I'm done. I don't need to follow her on other stuff. Okay, but this is too important because of the Charlie Kirk thing and because it's hurting us so bad. Okay, let's move on though, as I'm ready to move on. This is a big deal, okay? The jobs numbers came out today or yesterday, and they were terrible. They're just terrible. There's no other way to put it. ADP numbers came out, said payrolls are down 30,000 plus. They were expecting them to be up. Huge miss. But look, something else is crazy is happening. The jobless claims are the lowest since September 22. In other words, since September 22, there's less people filing for unemployment right now. How does that make sense? There's payrolls fall by 40,000, 30,000, people getting fired, and less jobless claims. It's all because the illegals are leaving. This should be something that makes you stand up and go, girl, because this is awesome. This is super awesome. In no way, this should be in the news instead of Candace Owens, okay? This should be, because this is a huge win. 2.5 million illegals so far gone. He says deported. A lot of those are self-deported, but regardless, it all adds up to the same thing. 2.5 million gone. That is why there's weak job growth, but also fewer people filing for unemployment, because these people aren't losing their jobs and going on the dole. They're losing their jobs and going bye-bye. Bye-bye for good. So the job numbers, this is a good reminder right now for the next few months, maybe even the next few years. The job numbers are going to be very skewed, and you're going to have to factor in the deportations with the job numbers for the next few years, as long as Trump's in there, and maybe once Vance is in there too. So don't expect regular job numbers for a long time. That's the point. But this is how we get excited. What we need to be looking for is when they finally post the job numbers that come out that say national citizens getting jobs versus immigrants getting jobs. That will actually tell us. That's the only real data we're going to get in the jobs report for a while now. So stay tuned on that, because that's a developing story and it's fascinating. But this just, think about this: 9 months, and the first few months when he started deporting people, started laying out these orders, they kept getting slapped down by judges. Boom, 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 every single one. And the Supreme Court had to come back and follow it up, but that took time. Sometimes it took the Supreme Court a month, sometimes 6 weeks to overturn these rulings. So that was slowed down. Number two, they had to close the border. That took a little time. Number three, they didn't have the funding. ICE was barely funded. And so they didn't get funded until the big, beautiful bill passed in July 4th. And after that, now you got the funding, but you have to recruit. You have to build up ICE. So when you think about all that they've had to do this year, and we still have gotten rid of 2.5 million, my friends, that's a massive win. This should be all over the place. And if it wasn't for people like freaking Candace Owens, this would be all over the place, and we wouldn't be on pace to lose the midterms right now, because this is the story that tells why our economy will get better for the working man. This is the story. The fact of all the investments coming in, the fact that taxes are going to be lower next year than they've been in any of our lives, the fact that deregulation is happening, it's like it's all coming together. And yet we got to talk about stupid, did TPUSA kill Charlie Kirk? Because the biggest voices are saying that. That's where we're at, and that's why we're losing right now. We've got to figure out how to get this message out, because it's huge. On top of that, so another hoax just exposed. I talked about this for a minute last night, but listen,
be potentially
Martha
in
Raddatz
communication
was forced
with
to
others
report
and salvaging some of the drugs. Because of that,
Hegseth, who they're trying to get rid of, because they're terrified of him because he's a real man leading the military, taking down that deep state. But the ABC is forced to report on this scandal. Where did Hegseth commit a war crime?
Tonight, new information. According to a source familiar with the incident, the two survivors climbed back onto the boat after the initial strike. They were believed to be potentially in communication with others and salvaging some of the drugs. Because of that, it was determined they were still in the fight and valid targets. A JAG officer was also giving legal advice.
There goes another hoax, just gone like that. Hegseth completely exonerated. So again, I mean, they are trying so hard. And, you know, why are they trying to get rid of him? As Jesse Kelly said, here's Chuck Schumer. Pete Hegseth not qualified. He must resign. And Kelly responds, the longer this op goes on, the more I'm convinced Hegseth is threatening the swamp in a significant way. I love it. Why do you think they want him gone so bad? Well, when it comes time to what a lot of us think might come, and we just got a little bit of it with the Seditious Six, right? Military tribunal time, it might be coming, baby. Well, if that's going to happen, Trump needs a defense secretary who's man enough to do the job, because it's going to be brutal assault from the media on that, brutal assault from the Democrats. A weaker person would cave to do what the military needs to do if these operations are going to go the way we think they are, or they think they could. Hegseth is a huge threat to him. He's a big, loyal guy to Trump, and he's man enough to do all the crazy stuff that might just need to be done. And they hate him for it. So that, but again, he's exonerated. Everything was legal. Move along, little buddy. You notice how we just go in these cycles? They keep trying to get rid of everybody in Trump's orbit. They went hard after RFK Jr. this summer. Couldn't get rid of him. See, they thought because of term one, Trump was going to be weak this term. Because in term one, they were able to get rid of a lot of his appointees. And they kept replacing them with deep staters. And then they'd get rid of one by pushing them out with something. And then Trump would get rid of one because the person was too deep state. And Trump was just cycling through cabinet secretaries like crazy in multiple positions. There's a couple who hung on the whole time. Betsy DeVos was one of them for Department of Education. But his Secretary of Defense, I think he went through three. He went through 3 attorney generals. I mean, it just over and over again, they were just running them through. And they thought they were going to be able to pull it off again this time. But here we are at the end of year 1 of Trump, 1 month to go, and not one. He hasn't had one casualty. Hegseth still there. Kash Patel still there. RFK Jr. still there. Tulsi Gabbard still there. Just go on down the list. Susie Wiles, chief of staff, still there. Trump had like 4 or 5 chiefs of staff his first term. He's even still got the same press secretary this time, Carolyn Levitt, which I know makes Big JR very happy. I miss you, JR. Where are you tonight? It's been a while. That's his girl right there. She's still there. He went through Sean Spicer. He went through, she's the governor, Sarah Sanders Huckabee. He had Carolyn, what's her face? Not Carolyn. Kaylee McEnany. He had her. I mean, he kept going through them, but everybody, the team is tight this time. They're all still there, not showing any signs of going anywhere. This team is legit, and it terrifies the deep state, and they keep trying to pick them off. This is the second big round they've taken out on Hegseth. The first was the Signal chat. They really tried to get rid of him then, and now they try to get rid of him again. Doesn't work. So it's crazy. Just keeps going. So loving it. They just hold on. Matt Gaetz. Well, Gaetz is interesting. He didn't lose Matt Gaetz, by the way. Gaetz was never even in the fight. Gaetz was announced and stepped down, 2 days later? It was very quick. 2 days later, a week later. Matt Gaetz he didn't even make it to the inauguration. So you can't count Gaetz as a casualty. Trump announced he wanted him, of course, and the media took him out. But then we saw that we found out, I should say, that Gaetz wanted out anyways. He didn't want to be a House member anymore, even though he just won his seat again. And so I think it looked like Trump nominated him on purpose to let him get out. I think that's what happened with Gaetz. I don't think Gaetz was actually taken out the way it looks like. And you know why I don't think so? Because Hegseth had everything going against him. Everything. They assaulted the dude. They went full on after him. And he barely squeaked by. He was 50-50 votes, and J.D. Vance had to break the tie. He barely squeaked in. I mean, I don't think Matt Gaetz would have had. I think Matt Gaetz would have gotten the same. I think he would have squeaked in as well if he'd really fought the way Hegseth fought. So the more we move forward, the more I think Matt Gaetz was not actually going to go for it. That's what I don't think he was ever serious about it. I think Trump just did him a solid. That's what it looks like. Because I'll tell you what, Gaetz is happy as a clam right now. He's loving life. He's a news anchor on Newsmax. He gets to talk crap on everybody, expose everybody when he wants to, and he's free. He's free, and I think he likes it that way. And I mean, if you've looked into Matt Gaetz' past, that dude he's a partier, or at least he used to be. He likes his freedom. That dude doesn't want to be tied down. So I think he's loving life. I really do. Mishler says, I'm here to tell you Trump ain't getting rid of Bondi either. They have a 93% win rate at the Supreme Court. No, Bondi is doing a killer job. And the narrative against her is all bad seed. I'm telling you, if the stuff about Bondi were true and she was failing, she would have been gone in June, July. The Epstein stuff would have been a killer for her. Because if she actually boondoggled it the way they say that she did, the way the media thinks she did, and the people kind of agree, if that were actually true, if that was actually what Trump thought, she'd be gone. Trump didn't put up with that first term, and Trump's not going to put up with it now. There's just no way. He's two man on a mission this time. So the fact that Bondi still has her job and we're almost at the end of year one tells me that all that stuff that looked like a mistake by Bondi, I think it was an op the whole time. I think that was an operation the entire time to suck people in and then rug pull them like he just did. I really do. And I think Bondi was a big part of it. And just like you said, she's killing it at the Supreme Court. She's doing an incredible job. And I think it's easy. I think Trump right now, the way it all looks like when I look at his cabinet and all this stuff happens, I think Trump and them are laughing. I really do. I think they're saying like they have no idea what we're getting done. And they love it because the more they're attacked, the more they're underestimated, the easier it is for them to get away with stuff. I really do. I think that's what it is. I think they love it. very much so. One Love says, I agree with my Gates narrative. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I did think about it. Yeah, bye-bye, Jasmine Crockett. Oh, you stole my thunder. Let's get to that. So, Texas redistricted for 5 more red seats. Their Supreme Court struck it down. The appeals court upheld it temporarily until the Supreme Court could see it. Now the Supreme Court just upheld it. So, Texas guys, we got 5 more red seats coming from Texas. And just like Mike said, that means bye-bye Jasmine Crockett. So as of next fall, Jasmine Crockett will no longer be a congresswoman. And you know what she's going to do? This is so fun. She's talking about running for Senate. She get crushed in Texas. She will get destroyed. So I truly hope she does. And that chica, oh my, I'm not going to miss her. She is awful. I am so glad that she's going to be gone. This is basically the end of her political career. She is going into the trash heap of failed big name Democrats with into the gulags where the dead bodies are piling up, and she can play poker with Stacey Abrams and old Beto, you know. The big names in the Democratic Party who are supposed to be stars that completely crapped the bed and never came back. That's where she's going, and it's a very beautiful thing. D6 says, my mom's so upset with Bondi, Cash, and Bongino. She's hooked on the where are the convictions position. I can't get through to her. She's mid-80s and my mom, so I ask her to be patient. Well, there you go. You know, it's hard. When somebody's that old and set in their ways, you can't get through to them. They're going to just think what they think. And, you know, you just hope that she gets proven wrong eventually in a way that she wakes up. So, Al Smith, I think Al Smith lost his, I think he lost it too. Oh, did she file for Senate? So it's happening. Ooh, that's exciting. I can't wait to see Jasmine Crockett get whooped in the Senate race. Hopefully by Ken Paxton and not Cornyn. Ken Paxton will be hardcore MAGA. That's the only interesting race in Texas coming up in the Senate is the primary. And we all got to pray that Paxton pulls it out over Cornyn. Hopefully we get rid of Ilhan Omar. I hope she gets deported. I know Trump's working on it. I really think he is. Speaking of redistricting, so Florida House has now had a meeting to redistrict Florida for 3 to 5 more seats. So this can cancel out Gavin Newsom's map, which actually just happened with Texas. Save the House majority, maybe. I don't know if it'll be enough to save the House majority. We got to get some momentum back. But I'll tell you what, this will make it a lot harder for them to take it. Although Virginia is now looking at redoing their entire constitution in order to redistrict and get 4 or 5 more seats for Democrats. So, guys, this is a full-on war going on in the redistricting camp. But she's like a Jerry Springer cast member. That's hilarious. I agree with you, Mike. Kamala, they all knew about the fraud, but they thought they were going to win, especially if the Emerald Robinson, Benny Johnson reporting going on, Patrick Byrne reporting is true right now, that they thought they had it rigged and it was stopped, partially in big part by Elon. So I don't know like what all the details are going to be on that. It's still coming out, but it's very interesting, this whole election story. Minnesota's a disaster. I know, Mike. I keep looking at it. It's very sad for me. Jerry Springer guests are acting. She's not. I love that. That's very true. Okay. Now we got to talk about Epstein because the Democrats no longer will. The Democrats in the House Oversight Committee this week released a bunch of Epstein photos and some video. Really strange stuff. And they claim this has never been seen before. And the media's like, Epstein stuff never been seen before. But, of course, it had been seen before because James O'Keefe had actually already released this several months ago without redactions. You guys remember over the summer he had a bombshell? Well, they just stole his bombshell and called it their own. And the best part is it exonerates Trump. But anyways, here's just a section of it.
Formerly owned by the alleged sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein.
You hear James?
Inside Jeffrey
This is the
Epstein's
original
kitchen,
piece.
inside his personal library, Even inside the master bedroom, we could see those phones on the bedside tables with speed dials and names. Now, we take you inside
Hold on, let's go back to that speed
kitchen,
dial.
inside his personal library. Even inside the master bedroom, we could see those phones on the bedside tables with speed dials and
Larry cell? I wonder if that's Larry Fink. Darren, Rich, Mike, Anna, Patrick, Steph. I don't know any of those, but Larry is interesting. Anyways, this just completely blew up in their faces. They're so stupid. So it says, not only does this new information exonerate Trump of any connection to Epstein's crimes, but the Democrats caught red-handed photoshopping the data dump of any names or information implicates their associates because they redacted it and it was already out there. So just amazing stuff. This is like, every day we just get another crazy thing like this. If this was a movie, people would be like, this can't be true. This just is unbelievable. It's too many twists and turns. Nobody's that dumb. The horror movie trope, like they're always stupid. Don't go down there. They always go down there. Well, that's the Democrats with the Epstein files. Don't do it. Don't go down there. That's our people. No, but Trump could be in there. No, you don't know. You don't understand. Even if he is, it's really bad for us. No, we're going to do it anyways. Okay, but well, what if they vote it through? They won't vote it through. Trump's in there. What if he's not? No, don't do it. Nope, we did it, and now it's just piling up on them, and they keep trying to keep like it up in just the least relevant way, where at least some people can talk about it, maybe think Trump's in it because redactions, and they just fall into their own trap. These people are so stupid, and this goes exactly into. So I shared in our Patreon, not our Patreon, our Discord. I shared a really important podcast I listened to last week. It was a 2-part podcast with guys I really trust on it. And they were talking about how one of the biggest psyops in the world right now is that our enemy is basically omnipresent, omniscient, all powerful. And it's a huge psyop because they're not. Doesn't matter who it is, whether it's the globalists, whether it's the technocrats, whether it's the Democrats. I mean, whatever you think of the enemy, the deep state, they're not all powerful. They're powerful, but they're human and they make mistakes and they have limitations. And so all these people who try to tell us that everybody has, like we're up against an enemy that can't be beat. We're up against an impossible enemy. If anybody who says that is lying, it's just not true. And the fact is we're the majority. And that's why they're so afraid of us continuing to wake up, because the more we wake up, the less power they have. And we're seeing it in stuff like this. If they were all powerful, they just don't make mistakes like this. If they were all powerful. No, this is desperation. This is stupidity. And I just can't wait. I have a feeling in the next couple weeks, we're going to start getting some drip of Epstein stuff. And I have a feeling it's going to start being worse and worse for Democrats. Here's the thing about Trump. The Candace Owens crap, the affordability stuff, the Democrats' momentum, he knows all of it and understands all of it right now. But here's the deal. Trump's got some cards to play he hasn't played yet. And Trump is very smart. If Trump seemed worried, or if he seemed rushed in anything, I might be like, this is a problem. But because of the Epstein stuff, because of the turn I think we're going to see in the economy, because of what Trump has, they're uncovering in the FBI, I have a feeling that there's going to be a trove of stuff released at just the right time that's going to be horrifically damaging for the Democrats. That full effect, I don't know when it'll happen. He might wait till closer to the midterms. He might hit it at the beginning of the summer, late spring. I don't know. But I have a feeling that there's going to be a lead up to it. There's going to be a trickle. And I think that's going to start in the next couple weeks. I really do. Remember, they said that the Epstein stuff was to be released in 30 days. So we'll see if they hold to that. It's going to look very, very interesting. Cassing says, look like the Dems could shut down the government in January. Schumer on the Senate floor today wanted Obamacare funded for 3 years. Really? If they shut it down again, that's the best thing that could happen for us. And it's not because we're going to go wait for the 60 days again. Trump's not going to let that happen again, not in the same year as the midterms. And all of us who want those 60-day cuts to come in automatically are going to be very sad about that. But that doesn't matter right now. I mean, it matters, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is we get rid of the filibuster. And if they shut down the government again, I have a feeling the Republicans might finally find their balls and get rid of the filibuster, because Trump is going to be hounding them to do it. And they know that if the government stays shut down, the midterms are cooked, because they can't have people losing all their benefits again. They can't have a knock to the economy like that again, not in a midterm year. So they had their chance. They let it go long in the fall. And even though it was clearly the Democrats behind it, the Republicans ultimately came out worse for it, even though the Republicans won it. And it just goes to show you that when you have a nation of people dependent on the government, those people, when they sense their stuff's going bye-bye, when they think when the government's not giving them their gimmies anymore, even Republican voters, even MAGA voters, they can tend to turn towards the party that says, we're going to get you more. Because in fear, people who are afraid vote Democrat. People who are afraid vote for bigger government. Well, I should say people who are afraid of the wrong things vote for that. People who are afraid of communism vote MAGA. But you guys get my point. A government shutdown, if it stretches on too long, is worse for the Republicans and Democrats. And I don't think there's any way for them to win that. I really don't, because of the nature of what they've set up in our government. And I think the Democrats, even though they caved, the only reason they caved is because they started to notice the tide was turning. But the Republicans can't risk that again. So it's going to be filibuster time. Break that filibuster. And if that happens, oh, mama. And that's what they should do with the Democrats. If the Democrats are going to threaten shutdown, they say, well, you do this, we break the filibuster tomorrow. And that'll scare the dickens out of the Democrats. Because if we get the filibuster passed, we get rid of that thing, all of a sudden we get voter ID. We get, bill after bill after bill passed. The Senate will be, all of a sudden, it'll just be legislating like crazy. And that will lead to a huge win in the midterms. Huge win. Finally, talking of all this FBI stuff, Tulsi had something interesting to say, and I was going to play this, but I'm not going to play. Well, I'm going to play some of this because it's very interesting, and it just gives you an example of what we're up against, but it also tells you, like I said the other day, Tulsi's got a lot going on. She's doing some big things behind the scenes. Listen to her here.
The media being used as a propaganda mechanism. We saw it flatly. I mean, I think it's the smoking gun, quite frankly, of the Obamagate narrative and the Russiagate narrative, that it was so baked in that the New York Times and Washington Post went and ran with it. Some would say that that's part of Operation Mockingbird. Some would say that that's part of what we learned in the Church Committee, that the intel agencies were using media outlets as their mouthpieces, and that those mouthpieces would parrot the official narrative. And I wanted to ask you, is this operation still going on? Are you aware of the intel agencies working directly with media outlets in order to push prescribed narratives that may or may not be true?
It's something that we've already had to deal with, Benny, within this administration, where there are people within the intelligence community who believe that their will is more important than the will of the American people, and will weaponize intelligence by leaking it to their friends within the mainstream media with the intent of undermining President Trump's agenda. It is not one that he hasn't already talked about in every rally and town hall that he did throughout the campaign. I don't even know how many there were, but President Trump is enacting the very thing he promised the American people he would do in this election. So people in the intelligence community, they may agree, they may disagree. That's not the point here. as intelligence professionals, as people who work in the national security space, in the intelligence community, they are required to fulfill their mandate to their oath to the Constitution of the United States and to the President of the United States, who is duly elected by the American people. Those who leak intelligence to their friends in the mainstream media with the intent of undermining the president who was elected by the American people. None of these intelligence professionals were. They are subverting the will of the people and therefore undermining the Constitution.
It's wild that you're still having to deal with.
Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So basically, she just pretty much admitted, Project Mockingbird's still going on. So they're trying to get rid of it, but she confirms the intelligence ops, like members of Seditious Six, active in covertly conspiring left-wing fake news outlets, attempt to take down the U.S. government. Just crazy stuff, guys. I mean, this is what we're dealing with. You think the Trump administration, again, I just want to reiterate, because it's so important to remember, whenever you're assessing the Trump administration, whenever you're about to blackpill and think, man, I don't understand. Why is it going so slow? Why is this not happening? Why? Just remember the enemy they're up against. It's their own people. And you have a smaller group of people in charge. Thank God they're in charge, dealing with all these crazies. And it takes a while to weed them out. It does. They're not going to be openly fighting you at first. It takes a while to weed them out. And so this whole year, this first year, in my opinion, was the setup. This was teeing up the ball to smash a grand slam. Year one, all that we got done. The one big beautiful bill was almost his entire agenda legislatively in one bill. Obviously, we want more, like voting reform, stuff like that, but got a lot done, especially on the deportation side. That's fully funded now for this entire thing. Tax cuts, almost the whole economic agenda is already funded. We just didn't see the results yet because it takes a while. Deportations happening, rapid rate. Actually negative immigration for the year in year one when it's barely gotten started. Already, year one, we got indictments. Comey, Brennan, Adam Schiff, Letitia James. We've gotten some big names. That's year one. We've got investigations in the Crossfire Hurricane, which is the Clintons, which is Obama. We've gotten the release of the Epstein files legislatively passed. It's through. And now all it has to be done is dropped. We've gotten enough from the Epstein files where we know Trump's not in them. This is all year one. Are you kidding me? This is unbelievable. This is the greatest political year in history, in modern history at least, in our lifetimes. All of that. It's all happened. And yet, people are blackpilling. Dude, we still got 3 years and a month and a half left. 37 and a half months left. We've only seen 11 so far, 10 and a half months so far. So don't be blackpilling. It's good, man. This is a very, very good start. And I think this was just a tee up, because now the Supreme Court has pretty much signed off on his entire agenda to open it up. The last big one is tariffs. I'm sure there'll be a couple more here and there, but most of the big stuff's through. He's got the judicial juice now to just really ramp stuff up, especially once the tariffs one goes through, which I believe it will. I'm a little iffy on it, but I do think it's going to go through. So we have that. We have what's the economy could turn around now. It's all juiced up. It's all ready to go. The people are in place. Trump just got the Senate just blanket confirmed another 93 appointees. So that's lawyers, justices, you name it. It's a bunch of appointees in the government. 93 passed today. So he's got his people in place now. They've spent the last year purging. Doge has spent the last year investigating fraud and the money. I mean, at this point, we just caught the J6 bomber. At this point, Trump, the administration, has a really good idea of where most of the bodies are buried. They know where the skeletons are. They know where the money is. We've ended most of the wars. Russia, Ukraine getting closer to ending. We got this whole Venezuela thing going on. It is ramping up and teed up. So I think this year, as crazy as it's been, is going to be slow compared to the next couple years. So get ready, guys. It's going to be wild. Please like, subscribe. Thank you so much. One Love says, address the compromised judges. I believe they're already doing hearings on that. I think that's true because Judge Boasberg is one of the worst ones, was summoned to Capitol Hill to testify and he didn't show. So that's pretty interesting. Thank you, Mark R. I appreciate you. You're very nice. Thank you so much. One Love says, even the farmers said Trump didn't cause the recent problems. Amen. 100%. Yeah, they know. They know. Mike says, I think the White House needs to be better managed. The news cycle, a lot of great things happening people don't know about. No, you know what, Mike? I actually 100% agree with you on this. I really do. I don't know what to do. I agree with you, but I just don't know what else they can do. I see Carolyn Levitt going out there talking about all this at least once a week to the press. I see Trump doing more time with reporters than any president's ever seen. I see them keep going. And I don't think it's for lack of trying. Scott Bessent just did an excellent interview yesterday with the New York Times. That's all over YouTube and was all over X. But the problem I see is that how do I frame this? Because I don't know. I see people like Tim Pool talking about this stuff. Steven Crowder. I think it's just I actually do think I know the answer. Most people nowadays, people like you and me, we got our news. We know where to look. We go to X. We go to, we have people we may follow on YouTube or Rumble, and we know who to listen to. We've done our jobs. We've kind of figured out who's trustworthy. Most people still, especially younger people, older people get their news from the mainstream media, including Fox News. That's just a fact. They still do it. My grandpa is one of them. He's in his 90s. That's what he watches. Then there's the younger generation gets all their news from TikTok. And then you have people like my wife, who if I didn't exist in her life, the only news she would get is from Facebook. Because she just isn't interested in reading the news. And so she just sees what pops up. And I'm always telling her, that's a lie. That's a lie. Honey, this is what's really going on. And she trusts me. But that's what she sees. And so the entire media ecosystem is designed so that you don't get the news unless you're actually looking for it. And that's the big problem. And I honestly don't know how the White House breaks through that. One of the ways they will break through it, at least temporarily, is at the State of the Union. So when you get these major things that many millions of people tune in for, that's when you can actually get your message out. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know what else they could do, honestly. There might be there might be something I could think of that's outside the box, but it'll be tough. What's going to happen with Comey? Well, Mike, Kash Patel has said that they're not anywhere close to done with that. So I believe there's going to be, I think he said they've been working on it for 6 months. So I think they're going for round 2, and this time they'll be much more prepared. Yeah, Boasberg and Jack Smith being investigated for wiretapping. Okay, Trump and the Republicans got it. What's up, CA Human? Mark says, not doing much stock talk. Yeah, SMX. No, I didn't see that, man. I missed that one. I think some people were talking about it in the Discord, though. Yeah, C1 Love, it's hard when you talk to other people. That's all right, CA Human. God bless you. It's okay. I'm about to head off. You can go back to the beginning. So anyways, guys, hey, if you like the show, if you learned anything, if you just appreciate my takes, or if you think I'm funny looking, hit that like. I'll appreciate it. Even if it's the funny looking part, just hit that like, hit that subscribe, follow if you're on Rumble or Twitter or X. I really appreciate it. Just give the algorithm a little juice to know that some people like me. So I do appreciate that. And if you want to support the channel and the work I do, the best way to do it, you can join here on YouTube for $3 a month and get members lives. Or you can hit that link, go to Patreon, and this is on Rumble and on X, it's pinned on my profile. You can get a free month of membership. And that means all members lives, members only lives, and all access to the Discord. So we're in there, we're talking 24/7. There's stock talk, all kinds of good stuff in there. So it's a great community. So you put all that together, it's a great deal. You get a free month to try it out. If you don't like it, you cancel. If you like it, you can join up for $5 a month, and that's all I ask to support the channel. And then, yeah, it takes a lot of work to run this thing. I do it because I love it, but the little bit of support also helps me keep showing up and make this work out. So thank you guys. So I'm actually right now, I'm saving up for a new computer because mine is, let's just say it's kind of a miracle it's still going. I've been running this thing for 6 years. Streaming is a little hard on the computer. I run a lot of tabs for all the news. My RAM's not that good. So I am trying to get a new computer. So that's the kind of stuff, and it's not cheap. That's the kind of stuff that the support helps with. So just so you guys know, that's how I make this happen. So anyways, love you guys. Appreciate you. Let's see, Mark, real quick, my thoughts on the Niners this year. Dude, if the Rams and Seahawks lose this weekend, we could be the 2 seed and we're on a bye. We don't even have to play. Yeah, we're way overperforming. I'd be shocked if we made a deep playoff run because our defense is so injured. But hey, weirder things have happened. I'm at the point where I get to enjoy this season because I have no expectations. Let me put it that way. But it's a very wide open NFL season. I'll say that. Thank you, Johnny. That's why I am funny looking, says Mike. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Mike. All right. Like, subscribe, and let's end in a prayer because we need it. Our country needs it, and our president needs it. So Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Father, I just pray a blessing over everybody here. Thank you so much for them and their willingness to hang out with me. It's still always amazing to me that anybody watches me, let alone hundreds of people. So thank you for that. It's truly a blessing, and an honor and a responsibility. So, thank you for that. But Lord, I bless all of them. Bless them all wherever they're at, whatever they need, just be with them in Jesus' name. And Father, just, we pray for our country, pray for peace in our country, pray for prosperity and justice to come to our country, God. And thank you for all you're doing. Thank you. We can see that this team that got in by a miracle, had to be you, is doing incredible things. And so, God, we just pray that you finish what you started with them, that everything that needs to be done gets done. And Lord, miracles are still needed. Obviously, they are fighting against people in their own government, people that say they're on their side and are subverting them. It's the craziest thing. So we just pray for more miracles, more breakthroughs, more incredible happenings, and just wisdom for them to complete everything they need to do. And also, as always, protection, because it's scary out there. And I do pray for everybody who would be seeding false narratives, who would be trying to steer people astray, deceive them, cause doubt and dissension, and break apart what we're actually trying to do. I just pray they're all exposed in Jesus' name, that everything would come to light, that all bad actors, all fake actors, God, would be exposed for exactly who they are and brought down as a result. And we just pray for more exposure. And Lord, again, bless everybody here. Be with them in health, prosperity, relationships, whatever they need. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay. Love you guys. Have a blessed night. And I'll see you guys soon. I'll probably take the weekend off and be back on Sunday. But again, you never know. I could always show up depending on what happens. So anyways, have a blessed weekend if I don't see you. And pay attention to your notifications if I change my mind. Anyways, love you guys. Have a great night.